All right, we're set to begin session number 2. The blue team will start on the mound, and I believe that is the yellow team that is batting. Chopper down to third base line. Foul ball. So batting for the yellow team as we get reset here.
Probably a good choice to lay off that one. I think she would have been out of the box if she touched it.
That's Taisha Du Bois leading it off, I believe.
Good job at Taisha to hold her hands back on that pitch.
And the wind and the pitch is inside. That will hit Du Bois, and she will elect to take her base. And she has the option to take the base or not, and I guess she will.
I think I would on that one, too.
Yeah. So now for the yellow team, as we try to get set for this new lineup, I believe that's Izzy Barnes. So pitching, we have Aguilar on the mound for the blue team. The first pitch is outside, ball 1. Again, we'll rotate the 3 teams equally here as we head into session 2. That pitch is wide, 2-0. You know, I used your poll, said your name at the concession stand, and they charged me double.
Well, it's not the going rate. It's usually a lot more than that.
So thanks a lot, Mark. The 2-0, that one's wide, 3-0, goes off the catcher's mitt, and heading into second base is Du Bois. Again, Rob Polinsky joined by Mark Mulvaney as we are in Akron, Ohio for the finals of the Fastpitch Scouting Report All-American Games. And that one's inside and low, ball 4. The first 2 batters have reached.
For the coaches using the Recruiter's Guide online, the yellow lineup is starting where it left off. So we're Taisha Du Bois is the leadoff hitter for this game, and then Kenzie Chapler will be the last hitter. All lineups will resume from where they started, and the inning that we're playing on the Recruiter's Guide is inning number 6 of game number 1 defensively for the blue team right now.
There's a called strike, so that means Aguilar is the pitcher. Yes. Resnick catching. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Pitch is wide, 1-1. Ball and a strike. The count to Autumn Parrish. That one's high, ball 2.
And Aguilar does not want to get behind 3, 4, and 5 in this lineup with Barnes, Parrish, and Walters going 3, 4, 5.
That one's lifted in the infield. And
infield fly will take care of that one.
Yep, exactly right. And the shortstop, Horgan, goes back to take that for out number 1.
Now batting number 6, Ashley Walters.
That'll bring up Ashley Walters. And that one's wide, ball 1. Good job by Resnick behind the plate to stab that one. Aguilar into the windup, the 1-0. That one's going to be chopped to third, and it bounces off the third baseman. Everybody's going to be safe. Is unable to come up with that down to third is O'Reilly.
Up next for the yellow team, number 3, Amanda Thomas.
We'll bring up Amanda Thomas with the bases loaded and 1 out.
And is the case with every lineup here today that 3, 4, 5 is tough to give to, but doesn't get a lot easier going 6 through 12 or 6 through 13, whatever the case may be on each team.
And one's going to be shot down the first baseline. Foul, 0-1. We're at the top of the first inning of our second session, second game here with these three teams. That one's lifted into short left field.
The boys good speed at third base, should tag here.
Hank comes in, makes the catch, the throw home, and just getting in safely is Du Bois. But a pretty nice throw there from Hank. So Du Bois scores the first run of the second game. There are 2 outs, and the runners Barnes and Walters each moved up to second and third. Pitch is a called strike. Is now up to bat. Madison Bartlett. That'll even count a ball. I'm sorry, it's Darian Ward. Darian Ward is the batter. And that one will bounce in, 2-1. So the blue team pitching, it's the yellow team at bat. Darian Ward in the 2014 class out of Marietta, Georgia. That one's wide, ball 3. And Aguilar from time to time in this first innings had a hard time with the strike zone.
Yeah, she's elevating a little bit. She's working up and down quite a bit. Really her bread and butter as a pitcher is that she's not a 60-mile-an-hour arm, but she can throw the ball inside well. Screwball is one of her better pitches. She's really just getting the arm extended on her curveball and pushing out over the plate quite a bit right now.
Wild pitch, and it gets away from Resnick, and able to score from third was Barnes. So 2 runs score on the wild pitch on ball 4.
Next up for the yellow team, number 7, Katie Holhouse.
And that'll bring up Katie Holhouse.
And Holhouse is an intelligent hitter, so she knows in this situation Aguilar is probably going to be trying to get ahead with the strike. And we'll expect Katie to probably be sitting on a first pitch strike here.
And that one's high and wide, ball 1. Katie, a first baseman, outfielder out of Flower Mound, Texas. That one's check swing. She went too far to leave an account of the ball and a strike. Katie in the 2014 graduating class. Sends that one into left center field. It's a base hit, and it gets past the left fielder, Hank. 1 run will score. Coming around third and coming in to score is going to be Ward. So what do you think, a single and an error there, Mark? You good with that?
I'm good with that.
And the yellow team has put on their hitting shoes here, and they've got 4 runs in so far in the top of the first.
Not the pitch to place Holhouse. She's a really good hitter on the ball down in the zone. If you're going to pitch Katie, you've got to go up in the zone. But she's learned in the last 6 to 7 months that to elevate, when the ball elevates, she's actually getting above it with her hands and really narrowing the holes in the swing. But definitely her really hot zone is down and in, and she showed why right there.
They'll bring up Kaylee Williams, who we saw pitch in the first game. Kaylee, the 8th batter to bat here in the top of the first. It's called strike.
And Aguilar's running through about 5 or 6 hitters here after the 5th spot in the order. They're used to batting 3rd or 4th on travel teams and being run producers, so doesn't get any easier right here.
There's a called strike on the black, 0-2. Aguilar looking into Resnick. That's the battery here with the pitcher and the catcher, the 0-2. Off-speed pitch that's lifted into short left field. Racing back as the shortstop and making the put out short left field is Horgan. And that'll do it for the top of the first. Miranda Cotton, the leadoff in the bottom of the first inning for the blue team. It'll bounce in for ball one. On the mound for the green team here in the bottom of the first inning is Grace Packer. She's the first left-handed pitcher we've seen today, Mark. How does that change things from the hitter's approach?
Well, really for our lefties, the thing that they struggle with versus a left-handed pitcher is that typically a pitcher's best movement is going to move away from a left-handed batter if you're a left-handed pitcher. So they really have to keep the front side in and think the other way a little bit more. And we don't see a lot of lefties throw the screwball as effectively as right-handed hitters, so it really opens up the outer third of the plate. And
there's that one shot down the third base line, but foul. 2-2.
Miranda with a good idea there going with the pitch. She's a hitter that lets the ball get deep, so she's going to have probably a little easier time with this than a lot of pitchers would. Packer doesn't make a hitter wait on the ball terribly long. She's 60 to 61 miles an hour.
So again, Grace Packer on the mound for the green team. The 2-2 pitch. Off-speed pitch is drilled into right center field. And that's going to be a base hit around first. Cotton flying into second. She'll be there with a sliding double. Good speed by Miranda Cotton.
And Cotton's not a player a lot of coaches know about. Midwest kid out of the St. Louis area. And this is really why it's important for coaches to watch this kid. Didn't think twice when the ball came out of the bat. She knew it was a double where a lot of kids would have had to turn and look and figure it out. She knew what was going to happen when she made contact.
Boy, she was flying around the bases as well.
And we might expect her to try to take third base right here. That's part of her game as well.
Well, Jamie Hank will step in with Cotton with a leadoff double. That one's low, ball one. Catching this inning for the green team is Bradley. Taylor Bradley.
Packer 61 on the screwball there.
And here's the 1-0. That one sent foul into the screen behind home plate, 1-1.
Bradley and Packer familiar with each other, playing on the same travel team. So obviously in situations like this, the experience of knowing what to call for your pitcher, what she throws well, is going to help Grace in these situations.
And here's the 1-1. That one's chopped foul, and it hits Hank in the helmet in the batter's box, so it's a foul ball, a strike. It's 1-2. Mark, your fan club is getting closer here so they can hear every word
Have to watch what we say now,
Mark
right?
Mulvaney. Your fan club just keeps growing.
We're at 2?
Yes, you were started at 1. Now you're up to 2. There's a ground ball back to Parker. The pitcher will throw to first high, but they do get her out at first. And taking third on the throw is Cotton.
Good job of Packer there. Something that she'll learn as she gets into college. And little things that pitchers can do, glove fakes, arm fakes to try to get the runner off at second. Cotton was obviously showing that she was going to take the bag, but Packer did most of what she knows right now. She gets older, she'll learn glove fakes to take care of that.
Holly Vankoven comes up with an opportunity to get an RBI for the blue team here in the bottom of the first. Pitch, that one's going to be shot to Mitchell at second. Scoops it up to throw to first just in time for the out. The run will score. Boy, Mitchell's good day defensively continues, Mark. No matter where they put her, she proves that she can play the position.
She's kind of everywhere, isn't she?
That'll bring up Dana Horgan. Nobody on, 2 out, and a called strike, 0-1.
And if Packer being 61 from the left side, moving the ball well wasn't good enough, we hear she's might even be a better soccer player.
Wow. You're watching the Fastpitch Scouting Report All-American Games, live from Firestone Stadium in Akron. 2-1 the count to Dana Horgan.
Packer showing the ability to try to backdoor the curveball, something she does well that a lot of lefties can't do. Smooth the screw off the plate and try to backdoor the curve.
There's a called strike on the outside corner, 2-2.
And if she'll get that call, she ought to stay with that. That's going to be tough to hit.
Horgan steps back in. Awaits the pitch from Grace Packer. That one's sent foul down the right field line. It will remain 2-2.
Joey Arrieta almost making a play on that ball.
Well, she's done everything else today. She might as well do that. Done a great job Joey has of working the grounds here, as this has not been the easiest weekend, as you all know by now. with the weather.
She's got another shot to make a play here, too.
Yep. Joey's 2 for 2 down there, down the first base line. Joey Arrieta runs this facility, Firestone Stadium in Akron, Ohio. Her and her crew have done a great job this weekend to make this possible. And time is called for and granted to Dana Horgan.
It's nice to see Dana go ahead and hit the ball the other way. That's something that one of the questions you have about Dana coming into this is her ability to hit the ball the other way, and she's showing the ability to really spoil a tough pitch because Packer's doing a good job of backdooring the curve, and she's really having to hit a ball 2-3 inches off the plate, and she's hitting it well. So that's a question a lot of coaches were trying to figure out about Horgan is how did she handle the outer third, and she's really doing a good job of, even in foul ball situations, addressing that.
The 3-2, that one's sent foul into the screen. It'll remain 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Spoiled that one, too.
Nobody on and 2 out in the bottom of the first. Again, these 3 teams are rotating. So right now the green team is on defense and the blue team pitching, and next inning the yellow team will come up. That one's sent into right field for a base hit. Coming up with it in right field defensively is Edwards. She'll get it into Mitchell at second, and there's a 2-out hit.
That's a really good at-bat by Horgan right there. She fouls 2 tough pitches off down the right side, spoils a good 2-strike pitch, makes Packer come back over the plate, and makes her pay with a good shot right through the 3-4 hole.
Sam Nicholson, the batter. She'll 2-hop it to Mitchell. Comes up with it from her knees. Can she get her? She does. Unbelievable. Tia Mitchell's defensive effort continues. And the blue team is out in the bottom of the first, but they do play to run. And we'll be back to the top of the second right after this. Top of the second inning from Firestone Stadium in Akron. Chelsea Segrin is the leadoff batter for the green team. And pitching for the yellow team will be Thomas. Amanda Thomas on the mound. Pitch is a called strike. It'll even account at 1-1.
And Thomas, a lot like Riley Rogers off the L team, she's somebody that's going to throw a lot of change-ups, pitch backwards a little bit, has a lot of confidence in her change-up.
There's a swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch, 1-2.
And this is really what makes Amanda an interesting prospect to coach is that she's a little bit of a junk ball pitcher and that she's gotten interest from several different levels as a pitcher or as a third baseman or first baseman. And the thing that we can't still roll out is the fact that
they'll bounce it right back to her for the out. One up, one down.
Is that she's still a developing pitcher. Velocity may increase. She moves the ball well. She commands it well. That as a 2014 that's still going to fill out and grow into her frame a little bit, that velocity may pick up a little bit, and you may see her play at that level in the circle that she plays the corners with.
That'll bring Erica Davis to the plate. Erica, another young lady from Georgia, from Cumming, Georgia, right-hand batter. And the pitch from Amanda Thomas is a little wide, 1-0. Amanda doing what so many pitchers do these days, and that's wear that mask when you're out on the mound. And the 1-0. Off-speed pitch on the corner, a called strike. It'll even account at a ball and a strike. And the pitch from Thomas. That one's ripped into left field for a solid base hit. So Erica Davis with a single, and that'll bring up Tia Mitchell, who defensively, we've definitely been telling you how good she is all afternoon long. We'll see what she can do at the plate.
And Tia going for the left side this at bat. Erica Davis just sticking with her approach, hitting hard line drives to the infield, and does it exceptionally well.
Takes a look at ball one. So Mitchell awaits the 1-0. Pitch, there's a check swing, went too far, a ball and a strike. In at third is Barnes. She's in a couple of steps at third. Defensively. And the 1-1. Just off the outside corner, 2 balls and a strike. Walters behind the plate for the yellow team this inning. That pitch inside. Mitchell gets out of the way, ducks out of the way of that. 3-1.
Thomas and Walters out of Central Texas. Walters out of Kerrville, Amanda Thomas out of Marble Falls, both in the Texas Hill Country. Small town kids.
That one's lifted into short left field, and a nice running catch out there from the left field Chapelier.
Now batting number 5, Taylor Bradley.
Tell you what, when that ball was hit, Mark, I didn't think she would be able to get there in time, but a good running catch.
Well, the nice thing about being a 2-6 runner is the fact that you don't have to cheat in, because as the game evolves and slappers get better, you can't just cheat in too much, but Kinsey has plenty of closing speed to get to that ball.
We'll bring Taylor Bradley to the plate. Takes a look at a called strike. So you've got Davis at first and 2 outs. Taylor Bradley is the batter, and Madison Bartlett waits on deck. That one's lifted in foul territory. Coming down and making the catch is the first baseman with a heck of a grab in foul territory, and that's whole house to end the inning.
And Katie had a lot to think about there. She's dealing with the rail that obviously high school players don't deal with, and she's dealing with about a half-inch of mud that obviously made her a little bit timid right there, but she sticks with it and makes the play.
So that'll do it for an inning and a half. We'll return to Akron after this. The bottom of the second inning. Shannon Hughes is the batter. Takes a look at one high and wide, ball 1 on the mound again for the blue team here. This will be Aguilar.
Even in warm-ups, it looks like Aguilar's probably settled down a little bit after first inning, like most kids will at this stage.
Mm-hmm. That one's going to be chopped, and it is called foul. 1-1 over the third base bag. 2 umpires today. We got a the home plate umpire. That's his call, and right now with nobody on, the base umpire is over at first base. So that ball that was over the third base bag, the home plate umpire makes those calls. Those are not the easiest calls to make.
No.
And the pitch. It's just off the inside corner, 2-1. Shannon Hughes out on the yellow team out of Independence, Missouri. There's a shot down to second, and it gets through the legs of the second baseman, and safe on the air will be Shannon Hughes. There's that time for the blue team. I believe that's Nicholson that was not able to come up with that with the with that grounder.
Yeah, you can see on the field there's a little bit of patch of still a little bit of the wet stuff that made that ball stay down. It's about 50 feet of real hard dirt right now, then hit that last hop and stayed down on her. You won't see that too much from Nicholson.
Kendra Houston now up. There's a called strike, 0-1. Aguilar looks in. And the pitch inside, 1-1 running. Here's the throw to second. And I believe that's our first stolen base of the day. Shannon Hughes with a steal. Resnick, the catcher, got rid of it in a hurry, but unable to get Hughes. That one's lifted foul behind home plate into the screen. So a ball and 2 strikes to Kendra Houston.
It's good to see Kendra Houston swinging the bat a little bit more, swinging away instead of going through a slap. Swinging away is probably the biggest thing in her recruiting process she has to keep working on. You see a lot of lefties that grow up as slappers that get a lot more bats from the slapping and just don't hit for power. Kendra's showing a conscious effort here to make sure that she's getting her bats in, swinging away, and doing a pretty good job of it.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Houston. That one's lifted it well in the right center field, and it's going to be over the head of the center fielder up against the fence. A run will score. Houston will get into second base with a one-out or with a double. So still nobody out, an RBI double. Hughes is able to score. That ball was tagged.
That's big for Kendra Houston because we know the kid can slap the ball. She's a high 2.8, low 2.9 runner, so we know that slapping the ball on the ground and bouncing is not going to be her bread and butter, but that she did what she's here to do, show that she can hit the ball for power, and she hit that ball about 215 feet. If we're on a high school field, she's rounding them and trotting right now.
Miranda Cotton was hustling out there in center field. She made that play at second a lot closer than I would have thought. That first pitch is ripped fouled by Mason Garland. Mason hit a shot, but it was just foul. Another young lady from Georgia. So Houston at second, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Again, rotating these 3 teams because of the weather that we've had, just playing everybody an equal amount of time. 2-1. 2-day tournament down to 1 day due to yesterday not being able to play at all, and this morning being delayed a couple hours, but we're in session number 2. That one's wide off the plate. Aguilar goes to 2-1. Mason Garland, a couple of practice swings. She'll step back in. That one's a called strike. It'll even count at 2-2.
You can see O'Reilly immediately shifting down the line, playing more of a no-double style defense. Kayla Gomnis in left field doing the same thing. And again with Gomnis, what's been impressive about Gomnis so far, not only pitching, but she's actually showing a lot of softball high IQ by moving around defensively and communicating and doing things that you don't see a lot of pitchers do when they go out and play the outfield and first base. It's been really impressive with just the little things.
And sometimes it's those little things that separate players from one another.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of kids that.
There's a shot by Garland, but it'll be foul.
And I think that one had enough legs to get out of here if it needed to.
I think you're right.
But really, when you look at 40 players like this that are, top of the recruiting classes, high in our national player rankings, that it has to be the little things that separate them, because there's not a lot of difference in a kid that's 68, 69 miles an hour overhanded that runs a 2.7. It's got to be how they use those tools and put them together.
That one sent foul into the screen. Again, Rob Polinsky joined today by Mark Mulvaney for the Fastpitch Scouting Report All-American Games, live from Firestone Stadium in Akron. Our director, Nick Wilkinson, keeping us in line. Pitch, that one sent down the third base line. It is just foul past a diving third baseman, O'Reilly. Again, the guys working the cameras today, so you can see this. Jeff Matheny and Dangerous Dan Anderson. We appreciate their hard work.
Miranda Cotton directing traffic in center field, making sure everybody's expecting the ball to be hit to the left side.
That 1 cent foul. And this is a pretty interesting battle here with Garland and Aguilar. Several foul balls, and she's hit the ball hard a couple of times.
That's a tough thing for a pitcher to see, is that somebody's hitting the pitch you want to throw extremely hard, and that she has to just continue to be really just a pest on that spot to see if she can get Garland to slow her bat down and try to keep the ball fair and win that battle that way.
Here comes the full count delivery. That one again is sent foul into the screen. This has probably been the best battle we've had today between pitcher and batter.
And the thing about Garland is that it seems that every swing that she's taking right now has more confidence behind it.
Aguilar with the 3-2. Swung on, that's drilled foul down the third baseline. Aguilar out of Arizona, Garland from Georgia. These players from all across the country have made their way to Akron, Ohio. Aguilar looks in to Resnick. The pitch goes off Resnick's mitt, ball 4. And heading down the third base is Kendra Houston. That's a heck of an at-bat by Mason Garland.
Absolutely, and Aguilar was doing a good job with the runner at second and nobody out of trying to force the ball to the left side to not let Kendra Houston go to third base without an out being made.
Riley Rogers will come up with runners on the corner and nobody out. Bottom of the second inning of game number 2. Again, this is the home of the Akron Racers, and they have a doubleheader later this afternoon. That'll get underway at 4 o'clock Eastern time as the regular season winds down for the Racers. And here's the first pitch to Riley Rogers. She'll chop it fouled on the third base line. Rogers out of Conyers, Georgia. We saw her pitch in the first game a few innings.
Riley, not a pitcher that you see hit a lot, but obviously with the way she hit the ball in the first game and the way we've seen her hit in the past, that she has that ability to hit.
That one sent foul into the screen. That one's going to be chopped to third. Throw to first in time for the out, and the runner at third, Houston, has to stay right there. So a good job by the third baseman, O'Reilly, of keeping Houston from scoring. There's one out.
And we definitely want to recognize there are several kids here at the event today. The Georgia kids, Shannon Hughes from Missouri. These are states right now where school is in session, where they actually play fall high school ball, and so the Georgia kids have had high school coaches generous enough to allow them to come here and showcase themselves showcase themselves online and make sure that everybody gets to see them play. And a lot of these kids are missing games right now, and so I really appreciate their support of the event and recognizing what it is for these players to be selected to this event.
Kenzie Chapelier will chop that one foul at the plate. I guess that's one of the unique things I wouldn't have thought of. With all the states with different rules and different setups, it's got to be hard to do something nationally.
Absolutely, and even cases, Shannon Hughes out of Missouri, that's a kid that, because of state rules, where they have to have a certain amount of practices before they can be eligible for her first game, she's actually having to sit out 4 games to be here, and she kind of had to outweigh that, and we're glad she came, and I appreciate her showing that dedication, and obviously for the school system for allowing her to do that and take part in this as well.
Aguilar looks in to Resnick. Here's the pitch. That's off the outside corner, 2-2. To Kenzie Chapelier out of Livonia, Georgia. One out, the bottom of the second. That's inside, 3-2.
Kinsey typically pretty patient to play, doesn't swing at a lot of bad pitches.
That one's sent to center field. Cotton is there. She'll make the out. Here comes the runner from third. Throw home, not in time. So Cotton makes the put out, with Chapelier with the RBI.
Now batting, number 12, Taisha Dubose.
Lets Houston score. And on the throw, Garland goes to third, and that brings up Taisha Dubois. Dubois was hit by a pitch to begin the ball game. That one's wide, ball one. Swing and a miss, so even a count on the ball and a strike.
Typically, you'll see Taisha make an adjustment on the very next pitch. Very rarely do you see her out front like that.
That one's high, 2-1. At third base is Garland with 2 outs. She had a great at bat earlier this inning, walked. Now she's at third. 2 runs have scored in the inning, and that one's inside, and it hit Dubois for the second time, and for the second time, she'll head down to first base. So Garland stays at third.
Number 4,
That'll bring Izzy Barnes back up. She walked and scored in the first.
Looks like Izzy's off the plate a little bit more this time. Maybe she's trying to keep the ball fair without having to make a timing adjustment, just allowing herself a little bit more space on the inner half of the plate.
1-0 the count. That one's chopped to short. Long throw to first in time for the out, and a good job there by, I believe that's Horgan, the shortstop.
Horgan does a good job of staying behind the line. She's not afraid to play deep because she has plenty of arm. You won't see a lot of shortstops, even as going in to be a senior this year. You don't see a lot of shortstops with enough arm to have that spacing and allow themselves to play that deep to have a shot at that ball.
That completes the second inning. We'll be back for the top of the third after this. Top of the third with Resnick up. Pitch, that one sent foul down the first base line, 1-1.
This is our third look at Resnick here in about the last 3 or 4 months, and bat speed's been up every single time we've seen her. Again, like earlier, bat starting to show the ability to hit the ball the other way a little bit better.
And again on the mound for his second inning is Packer, the lefty with a pitch. That one's hit into center field for a base hit. Mitchell back in center field makes the out.
Next Next up, number 11, Kelsey O'Reilly.
Now Kelsey O'Reilly will bat. And the pitch is a called strike on the outside corner, 0-1. On deck, Melanie Marteri. The 0-1, that one's fisted into right field. And making the put out there in right field, I believe, is Edwards for out number 1.
Shelby Edwards not looking like a catcher in right field right now.
Melanie Marteri
Now
will come to the
batting,
plate.
number 5, Melanie Martier.
Pitches ball 1, that's wide. Marteri had a big hit in the first session earlier today. Solid hit. It was a double that went to the left field wall. There's a check swing, foul ball. We're in the top of the 3rd inning of our 2nd game. The rain stopped 3 or 4 hours ago, and chilly day, overcast, but it's been dry for the last 3 or 4 hours. That's all we care about. That one's going to be sent down the third base line, but foul. It'll be 1-2. Third baseman Blanton trying to come up with that one, but it was in foul territory to Nikki Blanton, young lady out of Ocala, Florida. The pitch from Parker is outside, and the snap throw to first, not in time.
Looked like they'd have had it if we caught the ball at first.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not sure if Resnick got a bad jump coming back or didn't have the footing to get back.
Turner at first just couldn't quite come up with that one. That one's fouled into the screen. Count will remain 2-2 to Melanie Marteri. Melanie here from Herndon, Virginia. There's a ball, snap throw to first. Nice pickup that time by the first baseman as it bounced in to Sydney Turner. 3-2 the count, the pitch from Parker. There's another shot to center. Mitchell's there. Can't come up with that one as that was a line smash. He's trying to make a diving catch. And on that single, runners at first and second. And boy, is Marteri looking good today, putting the bat on the ball.
She hit the ball hard a couple of times now, and it most impressive is she actually hit a ball that Mitchell couldn't get to.
Yeah, that's not easy to do, is it?
So far it's been impossible.
Yes. Aguilar the batter, and that one is a called strike. And the throw down to third, and everybody's going to be safe. As the ball got away from the catcher at that time, Bradley, her throw to third was kicked away, so the runners move up to second and third on that pass ball. So Elizabeth Aguilar with an opportunity, drive in a couple of runs with a hit. That one's wide, 1-1. And we'll see what Grace Parker can do in a little bit of trouble here. The lefty out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Aguilar very capable to help herself out at the plate, help out her own cause a little bit.
That one bounces in and it gets away from the catcher. The runners are going to move up. 1 run scores, and run from second gets the third on that wild pitch from Parker. Parker in the 2015 class. She'll be a sophomore. Elizabeth Aguilar, right-hand batter. Out of Peoria, Arizona. Open stance, here's the 2-1 pitch. Sent to second base on a couple of hops, scores a run, but the put out is made. And down there at second, that's Sagrin playing second base with the put out.
In this session, you'll see Chelsea Sagrin working through a couple different positions and showing off the versatility at second base, shortstop, and in the circle. And showing everybody why she's an athlete to get really excited about.
So Penny Nichols comes up, nobody on, 2 out. Off-speed pitch is wide, 1-0. I would imagine that's not the easiest thing to do, to play different positions all throughout the day.
No, and it's maybe she's young enough not to
know,
not to feel the pressure about it either.
There's a called strike. It'll even account of the ball and the strike.
And in Dallas, I had a conversation with J.B. Slimp that runs the Texas Blaze program, that I asked about Sagern and what he saw her doing, and his comment was that she's just really good, and that as an organization, I don't think they've really identified what they think she is, but she's a above average pitcher, above average second baseman, above average shortstop. It's going to be really fun to see what she really just develops at and thrives at, because she's got a lot of upside in all areas.
2 balls and a strike.
And a real nice part about it, she just hits the ball well too.
3-1. Sagern, and here's the other thing again, and we talked about it in the first game if you were watching. This young lady is going to be a freshman. She's in the 2016 class. That might be the most impressive thing of all.
Yeah.
Good grief. There's a bouncer right back to her. She comes up with it and easily makes the put out at first. So Nichols grounds out, and that's going to do it for the top of the third. And we'll be back with the bottom of the third. And we move to the bottom of the third. Thomas on the mound for the yellow team, pitching to the green team. Called strike, 0-1. Madison Bartlett is the batter.
Leading things off, number 13, Madison Bartlett.
There's a one hopper right back to Thomas. She'll throw to first for the out.
And you definitely don't have to worry about Amanda Thomas fielding her position at all. She is typically, whatever position she's playing on the field, she is the best defensive player there.
Now batting, number 14, Nikki Blanton.
That'll bring up Nikki Blanton. So 1 out, nobody on the bottom of the third. Thomas with the first pitch to Blanton is high, ball 1. That's over but low, 2-0. Kaylee Williams down at first base. We saw her pitch earlier today. She's in a couple steps from the first base. There's a called strike. Shelby Edwards awaits on deck for the green team here in the home half of the third. Thomas with the pitch. It's a called strike, 2-2. 2-2. That one's going to be sent to short. Quick throw and easily out at first. Boy, that was a nice play at short because she had to come in and easily got her out. I thought that might be a little closer play at first.
Absolutely. As soon as she caught that ball, she actually lost her footing a little bit. You can see she had a little bit of rough patch out there, but during the transfer, she kept her confidence and she kept moving, made a clean transfer, didn't press.
So a nice play there at short by Garland defensively. That'll bring up Shelby Edwards with nobody on and 2 out here in the home half of the third. First pitch to Shelby is ball 1. Shelby out of Georgetown, Texas. Another young lady that it will be entering her high school as a freshman. She's a 2016 class. Right-hand batter. 2-0 the count. Thomas is the pitcher this inning. She's out of Texas. She's actually in the 2014 graduation class, so she'll be a junior this fall. That one's sent off the third baseman's glove into left field for a base hit. At third base, Houston there couldn't come up with it as it was off the top of her glove for a base hit.
Next up for the green team, number 2, Grace Packer.
Bring up Grace Packer, the opposing pitcher. Grace, a left-hand batter and a left-hand pitcher. There's a shot to second. Segrin comes up with it and makes the tag, and that will end the bottom of the third. So that one goes 4 unassisted. And we have played 3 innings of game number 2, and we'll be back with the top of the 4th from Firestone Stadium in Akron, Ohio.
Put O'Reilly. Put O'Reilly out there.
And we head to the top for the 4th inning. Autumn Parrish, Ashley Walters, Amanda Thomas for the yellow team.
Yeah,
First pitch is high, ball 1.
Yeah, that'll work.
And for the blue team pitching, this is Penny Nichols.
All right, cool. Thanks.
So Nichols is pitching. There's a shot down the third baseline foul. Again with Mark Mulvaney, I'm Rob Polinsky from Akron, Ohio. Glad you're watching the Fast Pitch Scouting Report All-American Games, the finals here at Akron. Pitch from Nichols is wide, 2-1. Parrish 0 for 1 in game number 2. Popped out to short in her first at bat.
Autumn just always gives you the impression that she's about to do something with the bat every time she swings.
She'll hit that one down the first base line right on cue, Mark, and that's just foul. Very, very close to an extra base hit. It's almost like you've seen these girls play once or twice.
I know, isn't it? I think something that gets lost on Autumn is the fact that, yes, she hits home runs and she's a lot of doubles, but she can spray it down either line and be perfectly fine.
That one's low and inside, 3-2.
And Nichols is probably the pitcher today that's going to challenge timing of hitters most often with constant change of speeds on different pitches, and Autumn has no issues on adjusting to location or speed with it right now.
There's a shot by Parrish to deep left center field, and it's up against the fence. Around first, she'll hit in the second. Cotton quickly gets it in, but it's a leadoff double for Autumn Parrish, and just like Mark told you, she can do it with a bat, and that one was hit very, very well.
Tough kid to pitch to. She takes the ball on the outer half, drills it down the right field line, which would have been a double if it landed another inch to the left. Then you throw her down and in the complete opposite pitch, and she drills one hopper to a 215-foot fence.
Ashley Walters now will step in. Pitch from Nichols is high, ball one. Marteri behind the plate. Gomness is back now at first base defensively. As players rotate. And I start to recognize some of the young ladies. 2-0. Ashley Walters scored in the first inning, was safe on an error. She'll rip that to right center field. Boy, Cotton, they're just peppering her with the balls to center field right now. Back-to-back doubles and a run scores. And now it'll be Amanda Thomas's turn.
Now batting number 3, Amanda Thomas.
Amanda Thomas, again out of Marbles Falls, Texas, for this yellow team. And Darian Ward awaits on deck. So again, we rotate the 3 teams here today. That one's sent to right center field, racing in right field and making a nice running catch of that one is Hank in right field. Again, we've seen the outfielders today, I think, as a whole, cover a lot of ground.
This is really what this event's about, because typically we see a lot of shortstops and middle infielders get recruited and then turned into outfielders at the next level. I think these kids are doing a really good job of showing that outfielders at any level, that if they can play, they can play. Hank and Mitchell have done a really good job of making some plays where you've shown a lot of range. Kenzie Chapler made a really good play. And I think that really is what this is showcasing, that not all the athletes are on the infield. We've got really good, solid future Division I kids in the outfield right now, too. Hank went a long way to catch that one.
Off-speed pitch to Darian Ward is ball one. That fastball over but low, 2-0. Darian Ward walked and scored in the first. And a 2-0 from Nichols. Off-speed pitch swung on and missed, 2-1. So Nichols trying to get out of trouble after giving up a run earlier this inning. That off-speed pitch is fouled into the screen, 2-2.
That was something that was impressive about Penny when we saw her in Claremont, Florida back in January, is the fact that every kid at the park that we saw at the regional showcase knew she was going to throw the rise ball, but still couldn't hit it. And it's just a slight change of speed that she throws with the rise ball and still elevates it pretty good, even though it's a little slower than her hard stuff.
That 2-2 again is fisted foul into the screen.
Rise ball, typically not a pitch you're going to see a lot of people get hitters off balance with, but in a sport where the rules don't allow the pitchers to deceive a lot with releases and strides and things like that, and the illegal pitch being called so much, that when we see pitchers that have deception, we like to promote that and try to communicate that.
That'll be chopped up the middle. Boy, a nice job by the second baseman and a great arm by Nicholson. She went far to her right mark and then came up throwing to gun out the runner.
Well, Sam's got a big arm for a second baseman. You don't see a lot of pure second basemen like Sam Nicholson with the ability to go 63 to 64 overhanded and make that type of play. That's a play that you have to make it to Division I level and against runners that get down the line, and she made it look easy.
Katie Holhouse comes up, and that one hits in the screen, 0-1.
Well, we saw Katie last time hit a double on a really good pitch that was down and in. And we talked about the ability that Katie's improving on us to hit the ball up in the zone. And she took a good shot right there. If she can hit Penny's rise ball, she's going to do pretty good.
Holhouse will hit that one up the middle, and that's going to score a run. Cotton in center field comes up with it, and it's a 2-out RBI hit for Katie Holhouse. Her second hit of game number 2. She had a single back in the first inning.
Batter is number 1, Kaylee Williams.
And that's something the whole house has done a good job of in the last year is somebody that hits with a lot of power but not creating a lot of intentional lift on the ball and really settling back down into somebody that's learning to hit for a higher average because the power is always going to be there with Katie.
Brings Kaylee Williams up. Williams, a right-hand batter. Runner at first is Katie Holhouse, and 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. Called strike on the inside corner, 0-1. And the 0-1. That's inside, 1 ball and a strike. One is a called strike on the outside corner, 1-2. Wow, so they have given Nichols the inside and the outside corner this at bat against Kaylee Williams.
Williams is a pitcher, would like it if she were on the other end, but I don't think she likes it right now.
I agree. The 1-2, that one's going to be lifted into the infield. And in foul territory, Marteri makes the catch, the put out to end the inning. So for the yellow team, they play across a couple of runs, and that will do it for the top of the 4th inning. We'll be back. The new pitcher for the green team, and the batting is Kayla Gomnis. So we get set for the bottom of the 4th. Inside pitch is going to be fisted just in the young lady out of Bishop, Georgia. 1-0, that one's going to be hit in the left field. And coming in to make that catch in left field is Mitchell. Or I'm sorry, that's not Mitchell.
The batter, number 12, Jamie Hank.
There's 1 out in the 4th inning. We'll bring up Jamie Hank, who's 0 for 1 in this game. One's high, ball 1. Souls looks in. Here's the 1-0. That's low, 2-0. Getting a little bit of a lead off of first is Gomnis, but she'll go back. The 2-0. Called strike on the inside corner. 2-1. Hank out of Porter, Texas. Right-hand batter. You see her step back into the box. And Souls into the windup, her 2-1. That's a little bit off the inside corner, 3-1. That one's fisted down to third base. The long throw by Poe, not in time. Safe at first is Hank on the infield hit.
It looked like that ball hit her off the foot, and that she
what I
thought about not
Number
going,
7,
but still looked it out for an infield hit.
That's exactly what I thought. That'll bring up Holly Venchkoven. Holly, a first baseman outfielder, 2014 graduating class. Called strike on the inside corner. This umpire has been giving all the pitchers today that inside corner strike. But I think when you get that call, that is such a difficult pitch to hit.
This is a nice power-on-power matchup, too.
And there the power goes to Venkoven. She'll hit a solid smash into the center field for a base hit. All the runners go up 90 feet. The bases are loaded.
Kiana Sherlin with a really nice throw back in from center field. If the ball's not cut off, that's a one hop about waist high to Bella Norton at the plate.
Bring up Dana Horgan with the bases loaded and 1 out.
And Sherlin in center field is recognized, even as a 2015, going to be a sophomore. She's recognized that Souls is living on the inside corner. She's adjusted herself. She's shaded about 4 or 5 steps towards left field, covering that spot.
It's inside and low, wall 1. She is shaded very much to left center field, and the right fielder Bartlett playing basically straight away. So there's a big gap in right center field. Called strike on that inside corner, 1-1.
And Horgan's last at bat, that was her plan. She hit the ball down the right side a few times, and then hit the ball that would have brought Packard about 4 or 5 steps back towards the gap in right center field to field the ball. So she's got an area open that she has hit before.
One's low, 2-1. Emily Souls, her first inning of work in game number 2. She started the game on the mound. The game 1 for the green team, pitched 2 innings. That one's going to be sent to short. Come home with the throw in time for the force out, and that's a nice play by the catcher, scooping that up. That's not an easy throw that Norton came up with.
Had did a really good job there. I think that had the runner at third did not get a good jump, and she recognized that halfway about through her throwing motion, was able to readjust and have enough arm at 62 miles an hour to get it to the plate. And Norton shows you why we've got to rank as high as she can, because she makes every play.
And the smash is down the first base line, ball 1. Or strike 1, I should say. So now the base is loaded and 2 outs. Souls will try to get out of this one. Sam Nicholson grounded out earlier in her first at-bat today. To the top of the 5th inning, we'll have Emily Souls leading off.
Williams immediately going to the changeup outside, her knuckle change.
Williams on the mound. There's a called strike. We saw Kaylee Williams pitch in game number 1. She's back on the mound here against Emily Souls in the 5th inning of game number 2. That one sent foul into the screen. It'll remain 0-2. You get to look at the defensive alignment there of the yellow team, and that's Kaylee Williams on the mound. She'll be a junior. Again, fisted into the screen by Souls. The ball's 2 strikes. That's high and wide, 1-2.
We'll see if she goes back to her drop outside here.
A little inside with that one, 2-2. Souls, the leadoff batter here in the top of the 5th inning for the green team. They have not scored a run in this game yet, a couple of at-bats. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Souls is out, number 1.
Batter, number 11, Kiana Sherland.
So Kiana Sherland now will bat. And on deck, she is in the 2015 class, so she'll be a sophomore in high school out of Fairfax, Virginia. Two balls and a strike. Boy, look how shallow the right fielder is. Not anticipating her to swing away here. As you mentioned, she's been slapping at the ball. That one is fouled. It'll leave an account at 2-2. Nobody on and one out in the top of the fifth. The yellow team on defense this inning has Kaylee Williams on the mound. Young lady out of Austin, Texas. Should be a junior in high school. Off-speed pitch and does not get the call. It's 3-2.
I think Williams has made a couple of pitches this at bat that she thought were going to end up as a strike three.
Yeah.
She might have an argument, too.
She might. Kiana Sherland awaits the 3-2. That one's rifled into right or left center field. It's a solid base hit by Sherland. So much for the slap approach there. She hits a solid shot to center.
Tasha Du Bois making a pretty nice play out there to keep that one from turning into a quick triple or maybe inside the park home run with Sherland's speed.
Right. That'll bring up Abby Poe.
Ball took a funny hop in center field on her. Brought her back to her left, but she was able to get her footing.
Poe will send one down the third baseline off the glove of the third baseman, but in the foul territory. It's 0-1.
Darian Ward getting a little bit of work at third base, primarily an outfielder, but had a good showing in Atlanta at third base.
Abby Poe with one out and one on here in the top of the fifth. That one is going to be sent down the third base line to throw to first just in time for the out. And for the yellow team there, that was a nice play defensively.
The batter is number 7, Sydney Turner.
And Kiana Sherland does a good job on that. She's actually going on a straight still on that play. As she hears contact about halfway, she peeks in to verify that she doesn't have to go back for a line drive. Really heads up base running right there.
Called strike to Sydney Turner, who's up.
Typically just a matter of time before Sydney Turner puts a charge in the one.
And she'll hit a two-hopper to the shortstop to throw in time for the third out.
For the green team, no runs, 1 hit.
So for the green team, no runs and a hit. And we've played 4.5. We'll be back with the bottom of the fifth inning.
Shannon Hughes.
Leading off the bottom of the fifth for the yellow team, number 9, Shannon Hughes.
Shannon Hughes will lead off here in the bottom of the fifth inning for the yellow team. It'll be Shannon Hughes, Kendra Houston, Mason Garland, scheduled batters. And Hughes was safe and scored.
Collectible athleticism to go, and already at 62 and a lot of length. That's a player to get excited about. Keep standing out.
She knows the game. There's no doubt about that. She'll be a senior out of California. Kendra Houston, left-hand batter, had an RBI double and scored a run in her last at bat. Takes a look at that one, low and wide, 2-0.
And it looks like Kendra's going to go ahead and swing away again. And the way she hit the ball last time, I don't blame her.
2 balls, no strikes. The pitch, high and inside, 3-0. On deck is Mason Garland, and Mason had what I think was maybe the most impressive at bat that we've seen today.
Mm-hmm.
Fouled off several pitches and drew a walk. There's a called strike. Don't keep track of the pitches, but she might have had about a 10-pitch at bat because the count was full, and she fouled off numerous pitches as well.
Well, and she spoiled pitches at every part of the zone, too.
Yeah. Here's the 3-1. That's wide, ball 4. So Houston will draw a 1-out walk, and that's going to bring up Mason Garland.
The batter, number 8, Mason Garland.
And being around Mason, she's the type of player that you would expect to step up in these situations, that everything that she approaches, whether it even little things as far as contacting college coaches or being at camps, that she's very intricate with her details, very detail-oriented, and that it's always a max effort on everything that she does.
The pitch, that one's lifted in the infield. Marteri at third calls for it and makes the put out. So that time it's a 1-pitch out for Mason Garland.
The batter is number 2, Riley Rogers.
So a nice job this inning so far. Pitching for the blue team by Elizabeth Aguilar. That'll bring up Riley Rogers, who grounded out to third in her first at bat. She'll chop it to short. Horgan with a long throw in time. Again, that impressive arm of Horgan at short right there.
Got herself set up, got herself in a position where she didn't have to cross over to get to the back end, had her feet staggered already, and had plenty of arm to field it 4 or 5 steps behind the baseline. Just not a lot of shortstops can do that at any level.
We'll be back for the top of the 6th inning with the green team on defense. And that's going to bring up Kelsey O'Reilly.
The batter, number 11, Kelsey O'Reilly.
O'Reilly flew out to right field in her earlier at bat today in game number 2. That one bounces in, 1-0. Again, Packer, the 2015 class, she'll be a sophomore. That one's sent down the first base line, but foul. Sydney Turner, the first baseman, goes into foul territory to get the softball.
I tell you, there's been a couple of throws that have been made to Sydney Turner today that I really feel like is a result of her presence at first base, that when you come up making a difficult throw and you know you're throwing to somebody that's sure-handed, she's been able to give that impression to her teammates within two or 3 days here. It's been really impressive.
2-1 the pitch. That one's going to be sent to short. The throw to Turner in plenty of time for out number 1, and that time firing that one to Turner from shortstop was Segrin.
The batter, number 5, Melanie Martieri.
So Melanie Marteri comes up. with nobody on and 2 outs. Pitch bounces in, 1-0. That's wide, 2-0. Pitch set up the middle, and that's a solid base hit. Mitchell in center field goes to a knee to get it. She'll bring it in. And that's a 2-out single from Marteri.
Third really hard hit ball in a row from Melody Marteri.
Aguilar.
And again, showing what we saw in Colorado, just continues to hit the ball harder. And it's a player that hasn't figured out how much power she has either.
Elizabeth Aguilar comes up. That one's sent into right field. That's a base hit. Marteri got a late jump, and she is out at second. Well, even there were 2 outs. That was not a good jump from Marteri, and she is forced out at second base.
Madison Bartlett getting a pretty good throw on the run there, and really recognizing that situation. Because if you looked at what Madison had in front of her, she probably had more daylight going to first base, but her
on the mound, that's Amanda Thomas for the yellow team. And her pitch to Candace Hadd is a called strike. Had her first at-bat this game. As again, the three teams are rotating.
Hadd and Thomas, a couple of Central Texas prospects, very familiar with each other.
Pitch is a called strike. 0-2. Quickly, Thomas out in front of Hadd. Thomas into the windup, the 0-2. That one's going to be fisted to third. Coming up with it is Houston to throw in time for out number 1.
Good job of Kendra going to a 3/4 arm angle to be able to make the arm angle change, to make that throw. A lot of kids at third base, they'll try to make that throw over the top. And with that change with the momentum carrying you that way, it's really tough to get your release point going over the top. So drops down, makes a nice, easy-looking 3/4 arm action. Really what helps her kind of stand apart at third base, the ability to do that on the short game.
Bella Norton comes up. With 1 out and nobody on in the bottom of the 6th inning. Again, with the 3 teams rotating, no real score. I mean, the scoreboard says 8-3, but again, that doesn't mean anything because we've had all 3 teams rotating with the batting. But we can tell you the green team has not scored a run today in game number 2, called strike. It's been the yellow team that's had their hitting shoes on. They have scored 8 of the runs so far in this game. There's a called strike, 0-2. Norton will step back in. Down, no balls, 2 strikes to Amanda Thomas. That one hit into left center field, and it's going to fall for a hit. Chapelier in center field, I thought for a second might be able to come up with it, but couldn't quite get there.
Nora doing a nice job of expanding the strike zone there, going over the top of the ball with the hands, making sure she stays on top of it. Really learned from the previous pitch, knowing what the strike zone was, that she was going to have to expand. Didn't dwell on the pitch. She didn't think it was a strike and just went back to work.
Chelsea Segrin comes up. Segrin hits the first pitch in the infield, and backing up is the shortstop to make the put out, and that is Hughes.
The batter's number 8, Erica Davis.
So Segrin is now 0 for 2 this game. That brings up Erica Davis, who singled in her first opportunity way back in the 1st inning.
11, Kenzie Chapelier.
Kenzie Chapelier to lead off. Top of the 7th inning. And then back to the top of the order, and Du Bois and Izzy Barnes. Kenzie Chapelier, her first at bat this game. Left-handed batter will go up against Gomnis, who we saw throw earlier today. Kayla Gomnis back on the mound. First pitch is fouled into the screen, 0-1. Mark, it would appear that Gomnis has maybe one of the faster fastballs of the pitchers we've seen today.
Stays around 61, 62 usually. Nice thing about a kid that's 5'11", that's her frame is going to take any type of added size or anything like that. And nice play.
What a diving stop by the third baseman on that shot down the line. Heck of a play. And that young lady is Kelsey O'Reilly.
The batter, number 12.
That's O'Reilly's third exceptional play at third base today, starting to give Tia Mitchell a run for money for the most outstanding defensive player of the tournament so far.
That'll bring up Du Bois.
And back to Gomnis, the fact that you see a kid that's 5'11", that's nice and loose, that has a lot of arm whip and things like that. You get her in the right conditioning program where she puts on the muscle and things like that, she's only going to throw harder.
Pitch again, they sent it right back to the wrong person. Second line drive out, that one much easier to O'Reilly.
The batter, number 4, Izzy Barnes.
Izzy Jamie Hank, the catcher. I want to bounce in. Again, the Akron Racers are going to play a doubleheader of professional softball, 4 o'clock Eastern, a little more than an hour from now. As we wind things down here in game number 2 of the All-American games, the Fastpitch Scouting Report All-American games.
Gomnis trying to get Barnes to expand her strike zone, but typically it's something that he's not going to do at the plate.
That one will bounce in. It's 3-1.
One of the best things about Izzy Barnes as a hitter is the fact that she's a type of kid that you always see get a good pitch to hit because she's not willing to hit a pitcher's pitch early in the count. Typically stays patient, gets a good ball to drive.
There's a called strike, 3-2.
And while that's a pitch that Izzy might hit with 2 strikes and can hit it well, it's not what she's looking for in that situation. She shows a mature approach by being willing to take that pitch.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Izzy Barnes waits, and now the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And the yellow team goes in order here.
For the yellow team, no runs, no hits, no errors, none.
And we'll be back with the bottom of the 7th after this timeout.
Look better their second time through in their pitching work.
Yeah, you mentioned it. We've had several goose eggs the last 3.5 innings or so. Nichols, young lady out of Orange City, Florida, looks at that one. It's a fastball called strike, 1-1. Segren's pitch, off-speed pitch. Boy, she pulled the string on that one. 1-2. Segren will be a freshman in Taylor, Texas this fall. That was a good-looking pitch, Mark.
I tell you, even more impressive, she's moved from second to short, now to the circle, and has looked more and more confident at each position. Always helps to get a couple of ground balls under you and walk back out to the circle and see how things go. But now she's starting to throw all of her pitches. And earlier it was more that she was focusing on the drop curve and getting that over for a strike, and more worried about throwing strikes than actually pitching. And that's a lot of things that young pitchers have to learn to do, is pitch instead of just throw strikes, because a lot of pitchers can throw strikes. We're looking for those things that differentiate you from other pitchers.
And we await the 1-2. Segren into the windup. That one's high and wide, 2-2. Again, we want to thank Joey Arrieta, who runs Firestone Stadium in Akron, for having us here today. I'm Rob Polinsky, joined by Mark Volvaney for the Fast Pitch Scouting Report All-American games. The 2-2. That one is low, ball 3. We're under the capable direction of Nick Wilkinson, although he's only working half a day today. I don't understand that. On the cameras today, Jeff Matheny and Dangerous Dan Anderson.
I think when you work a half of a 20-hour day, it still counts as a full day, though.
He claims he's graduating college tonight. I don't know if I believe it. That one's sent fouled on the third base line. So Penny Nichols awaits the 3-2. Segren looks in to her catcher, Edwards. There's the 3-2. That's a two-hopper to second, fumbling it and then picking it back up and getting her out. That is Norton down there at second, and that's not the easiest thing to do, Mark. And she had the presence of mind to know you know you've got plenty of time and that ball's hit the second, and you don't have that short throw, and she was able to make the play.
I know, especially when you throw a catcher out there in these situations and make them play second base. But absolutely, that's an instinct that doesn't fall from you, whatever position you're in, to make a play and have the instinct to keep looking for an opening to make a play.
Kayla Gomnes now up to bat. Gomnes had a single in her first at-bat earlier today in game number 2. So she's 1 for 1. Right-hand batter. One of the young ladies that doesn't use batting gloves. The pitch. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Gomnes will step out, take a practice swing or two, and then step back in. Here's Segren's 0-2. That's high and wide, 1-2.
Something probably important to mention about Kayla Gomnes, as impressive as she was in the circle today with all the communication she showed on the field. One of the kids from California that actually would play out-of-state ball, and a lot of times we try to make coaches aware of those situations, that out-of-state school should be looking at this kid for the fact that she's willing to go there. She's got good physical tools. She's got a projectable frame where she's going to throw harder. She's showing all the intangible things that you need to see out of a pitcher.
That one's high, 2-2. Sent foul, 2-2, and that's rare, I take it, from kids sometimes if they're from
You know, Rob, it's easy for a lot of coaches to look at players too, and based on their geographical location, rule players out based on the ability to go watch kids and things like that. That's why we're excited to be able to stream the games on live, to where any coach can watch it, where they don't have to burn a recruiting day to come out and watch live, where we can show them everything they need to and give them information about kids where it's just like they're here, or even better, because they're not chilly like we are.
Cotton will lift that one into the infield, and going back to make that put out is the first baseman. That is Turner. Sydney Turner makes the put out at first, and that'll do it, a 1-2-3 7th inning. And are we going to have another? We are going to come back for another inning, and we'll be back right after this. And it'll be Tia Mitchell, Taylor Bradley, Madison Bartlett to bat for the green team. Mitchell with a swing and a miss. Yellow team on the mound. Mitchell awaits the pitch. That one's going to be hit to the third base side, and out number one, Thomas makes the put out at third.
Amanda Thomas immediately getting into third base and making a play like we'd expect her to do.
5, Taylor Bradley.
So Taylor Bradley will come up. Want to know? This will be Rogers on the mound. Riley Rogers. That one's sent down to first base. Coming up with it and winning the race to the bag at first is Whole House, or 2 outs.
The batter, number 13.
It's a nice little play. We bobbled it the first time through, and it goes between her legs, and she scoops it up and keeps running.
Madison Bartlett now will come up. She's 0 for 1 in this game. Bartlett around first. She's going to head for second. Du Bois gets it in quickly, but it's a 2-out double for Madison Bartlett. And that'll bring up
Number 14, Nikki Blanton.
Nikki Blanton, who's 0 for 1 in this ball game. Riley Rogers with the pitch. A called strike, 0-1. The 0-1, that one's sent foul, 0-2. Again, you're watching the Fast Pitch Scouting Report, All-American Games, live from Akron, Ohio, Firestone Stadium. After the conclusion of this inning, we'll come back for a game after the Racers doubleheader.